Hello, hello, everyone. This is Kate Weatherwise, your favorite weather girl, coming to you on Sunday, November 16th. It is 3 p.m. on the Pacific Coast, it is 6 p.m. on the East Coast, and I am coming to you talking about the weather. We're going to talk about the whole nation as a whole today or this evening, because we have some stuff going on this week. It has been an interesting November so far because where I live in eastern Washington state, the inland Northwest, it has been a pretty warmer than average November, which has kind of caught me off guard a little, not off guard, but just like, for the month of November, we normally see cold weather. We typically see snow by now, or at least some snow in the mountains. There has been snow in the mountains of the Cascades, of in Montana, of Idaho, but there hasn't been too much snow in the lowland places. On the flip side, there has been quite a bit of cold and cold shots that have come in to the Midwest, to the upper Midwest, to the South, even all the way down to Florida. They experience some cold and they're like, is it January? No, it is November, early November at that point, at that rate. So we are going to talk about all of that and what is going to look like for the rest of this, or for this week, November 17th through the 21st, 2025. So let's get straight into it so I don't keep you for too long and you kind of get a feel of what's coming. So this is the rapid refresh that goes out 18 hours. It's a very short window, which I like because it kind of gives you an indication of what weather is coming your way for the next 18 hours or so. And I'm going to begin over here on the West Coast. We see a little bit of rain coming into the coast here, a little bit on the inland Northwest, and then coming down into California. We have some snow and rain in Utah, and then it's a little dry for the rest of the country. And then we have a system that is right off the coast of Maine, and it's actually bringing in some pretty good winds and snow on the backside of it. There's rain out in front and snow on the backside of it, some cold air. So you guys are definitely getting some snow. It seems to be a little bit in the way of maybe snow showers into Pennsylvania, New York, and those areas. And you can see by these blue purplish lines, this is where the cold and warm air divide is. And there's not much, especially when you get back out west, there's not much in the way of wind anywhere. It gets windier as you head east from about North Carolina up through Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all those areas. These black isobars indicate, and they're pretty close together, that indicates that there's a decent amount of wind. But as far as weather is concerned, there's not a whole lot going on right now. So I'm going to advance this forward, and you can watch as this system continues to sort of batter the northeastern part of Maine up into the maritime of Canada up in there. So those guys are getting some good rain and snow and wind, and it sort of stays normal and in the way of rain and whatnot for the west. You can see another system coming in to Northern California. That's going to give them a really good dose of rain and up into Oregon. And then you're going to see some snow traversing from the south up into Wyoming, out behind this low. Rain out in front, snow in the back in the mountains. And then it just kind of sits there. And we go out 18 hours, and so this low doesn't really move much either. And you can see wind is the recipe for the next couple days, the next day and a half or so for the Northeast. And so I'm going to go back over here. This is the precip as we go out. This is the precip that's falling. That's that snow that's falling in Maine. Some lake effect snow coming in here through northwest lower Michigan into Pennsylvania and to New York. Just light stuff going on there. And then this is the satellite imagery right now. You can see the East Coast is falling into nighttime hours where it's dark, and you're not going to see, oh, it's updating. So, and then out on the West Coast, it's pretty cloudy. The central part of the country is pretty clear. We'll see that here in a minute. It's pretty clear. And there's just some high clouds around here. This is that system that is moving off the coast, and it's dragging in some colder air and some snow showers through Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, and the Northeast. And then out here, this is the rain. This is the snow that I was talking about in Utah that's going to head up into Wyoming, and some clouds with some rain out in the Pacific Northwest and down into California and Oregon. They're going to see some rain too. Now, what I wanted to talk about, generally speaking, this is the GFS model that takes you out about 6 days. And you can see by the purple lines, this is the colder air that is all the way down to the Maryland, Virginia line, basically all the way back into the Midwest, upper Midwest, into Minnesota and Wisconsin and those areas. And then it's warmer. So there's been an amplified high. This is the jet stream that is very well indicated on here. It kind of digs south and allows this, even though there's some low pressure systems here in the west and the central part of the country, there has been virtually, there's been some cold shots, up and down cold shots, but it's mainly been warmer. So I'm going to advance this forward so we can see what's going to happen. Now, like I said, this goes out about 6 days of time, and we're advancing this forward. We see some snow start to pop in on this line here, this trough that forms into Western Maryland. This is as of the 18th of November, so that would be Tuesday of this week. And then we're going to keep advancing it forward. We got some rain coming in here to the mid-Atlantic. For you guys there in the Mid-Atlantic, my hometown people, there's a high pressure here off the coast, but we have some rain dragging through that's coming west northwest to east southeast through that state, through Virginia, and this yellow indicates some heavier precipitation. That's on Wednesday rain for you guys. And then as we go forward in time, the colder air sort of retreats back to the north. So almost the entire country is in a warmer pattern. And then we see another system coming in off the coast on the west coast. We see sort of a line that's coming through Texas here. This is Thursday, November 20th, coming through Texas here. This could be a recipe for thunderstorms. So those of you who are chasers out in Texas, you may have a day of chasing on Thursday, November 20th. And then as we move on, this line, rain moves through Nebraska, the backside of it, and Colorado, into the mountains of Colorado. I know those mountains have been a little on the dry side so far this year, this fall season, but they look like they're going to see some snow here coming up at the end of the week. So this is through the 21st. Now, I wanted to keep moving forward. I think this goes through until this system sort of moves laterally from west to east. That's going to drop off some rain to Virginia, eastern North Carolina, all of North Carolina, down into South Carolina during the day or overnight next weekend. But what I wanted to point out was when you start to see the colder air. Oh gosh, this is a deeper low pressure system. This is a little bit further out than I like to forecast out, but this is more like showing you what's possibly coming. And this is another system here that's coming off the coast, definitely bringing snow to the mountains and the Cascades. And then this is a little bit of cold air starts to sink back down into the lower 48. And this system here, I wanted to point out, this is on the 25th. This is a line that could bring some severe weather to Oklahoma, Nebraska, Oklahoma, down into Texas. The Thanksgiving week, we could see that. And then this continues to march forward. And then we have some snow on the backside for Colorado again, for western Nebraska. So you guys in the Midwest are going to see. And then look at this. This is when the colder air starts to invade the west coast and the west side of the country, and the east coast starts to warm back up again. So you guys could see a warmer than average Thanksgiving this year, where the west coast could see a colder than average Thanksgiving this year, with perhaps maybe some snow in the mountains, especially in the Colorado, Nebraska, those areas, and a little bit of wind. And then this system kind of brings it up and creates a nice low that drags all the way down. And because it's warmer, I imagine these areas are going to see some thunderstorms as well. So that's what I wanted to point out. For my people up here in Washington State, this is looking like snow is going to start to fall after the 23rd. So this is a colder pattern gets set up, and then the East Coast stays warmer, and then it gets colder still. But then as we go out, ooh, look at that system. Look at that system. This goes out way farther. This is sort of like going out way past my comfort zone. But I wanted to show you how the shift from it being warmer in the west to colder in the west, colder in the east. It's a little bit warmer right now. Then it gets colder, and then it gets warmer again. So I'm going to go to the 6 to 10 day temperatures. This is from the 22nd to the 26th of November. You can't see it in the screen, but those are the dates that it's valid for. Look at this. Look at the warmth that this shows for the central and eastern 2/3 of the country. Warmer than average is coming up, and then cooler than average in Washington State, and then these are equal chances for warm or cold, and then cooler than average Southern California into Arizona. And then you go out to the precipitation, above average precipitation for almost all the whole country except for the Northeast and Central and Southern Florida. And then if you go out 18 to 14 days, this is valid the 24th through the 30th, through the end of the month, we're talking, that's when the flip-flop is going to happen. So the East Coast is going to be warm, and then we're going to be cold out here. So that means the jet stream is going to take a dip, and it's going to pull in colder air from Canada, and then it's going to go back up again and allow the warmer air to invade from the south, this part of the country. And so when they flip-flop like that, the jet stream doesn't usually, unless it gets pushed way further south for the whole country, one side is warmer than the other side. So when it flip-flops, you know that the jet stream is taking a dip somewhere, and it's going to take a dip here, and then it's going to amplify over here. And then the 18 to 14 day precip is above average for a lot of the country, especially this area is going to be cold. So you know eastern Montana, the Dakotas, Wyoming, into Colorado and Nebraska, this bullseye right here into Minnesota as well, they're going to be getting a lot of snow here in the time frame of the 24th or the 30th of November. You guys are going to see that. And then there's another bullseye here, but this is the warmer section of that. Right here, warmer, and see, this is colder. So that's what's going to happen for the rest of the month. Now, this is an interesting model that I really enjoy. This is kind of busy, so I'm sorry if it looks too busy for you, but it shows what's going on right now, warm, and then a little bit of cold, and then you advance it forward, and you see all of these systems. This is, North America, and then this is on the other side of this. This is Alaska up here. This is Greenland up here. and you're going forward in time, and everything's just sort of stays bottled up except for this upper Midwest and the Northeast. And then you start to see, let me go forward as much as I can. You start to see it changing a bit. This is on or around the 20th, 21st, 22nd, and then 23rd, where it starts to change. And that's when the West Coast and the Northwest and the inland Northwest, they get colder, and the cold air starts to invade for them, for me, and then it amplifies going to the east. So, but look at this. Okay, this goes out until the 30th. So this is a good indication of what it could look like to the end of the month. That's 2 weeks out. Cold for the northern half of the state, of the country. Warmer for up into Oregon, and then down into Texas, and then back up again into southern Maryland and North Carolina. So this is what we're looking at for the next week, but then you push it out further and it goes out until the end of the month. So it's just interesting. This November is a very interesting month because you lose a lot of daylight. It's pretty much getting dark at 4 p.m. for me, and I think it just started raining here. I still need to go see my chickens. The life of somebody who does weather on YouTube. I still have chicken tours to do, and it's just started raining. But you have, a colder second half usually than the first half, and then you have so many anomalies and so many things, so much shifting going on that usually by the end of the month it's snowing for a good part of the country. So we'll see what actually transpires, but I will be putting videos out for the foreseeable future, updating this, bringing you tidbits of information, more information about that setup around the Thanksgiving week that could be severe in the Midwest, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas area. I will be putting out more videos about that specifically, and then whatever else comes up. But this map is a little busy. So for those of you who don't look at weather maps all the time, that's like, oh, that's too much. So anyway, that's the outlook for this week, November 17th through the 21st, for the whole country. And I will be parsing out different regions of the country to give you a more focused forecast. But I just thought it was neat, really neat, to show you the whole country and see how things are shifting between cold and warm, high pressure, low pressure, wind, rain, turning to snow, all of that. So it's super fascinating. I love it. But I hope you love it too. But that's it. This is like going to be a 19-minute video. So I hope you enjoy this, and I will be back for more and give you more videos and more updates and keep everybody posted on what is to come. All right, guys, have a good rest of your Sunday into the work week this coming week, and I will talk to you later. This is Kate Weatherwise saying goodbye for now.